back to the ship, and then come out in the daytime and to our office at Meiji Building, which was right across from the Imperial Palace. The Army fed us, the Navy housed us, the Navy gave us a cigarette ration, the Army gave us a cigarette ration, and we used that for trading. Like that wall hanging there was Japanese for, I don't know whether that was cigarettes or candy bars. The long one.
Oh.
And
that's a beautiful
actually,
thing.
I think that's an antique.
Mm-hmm.
Should probably be in the museum, but that's kind of fun. We finished up in Washington, D.C., and Connie and I were there, and I finished my part of the report and got discharged. Well, separated from duty. I wasn't really discharged.
Grandpa, let's go back to Japan. You were saying when they traded, you need to finish that story like you told me last night. The Japanese trading, you said how they're always honest.
Oh, yeah. We'd take the cigarette ration from the Army on Wednesday evening and go back to the office and go onto the railroad tracks. And it was dark, of course, and then you'd have your cigarettes under your arm, and somebody would take your cigarettes like that and then hit your hand with that. And you always hit yen in your hand when you got there, and it was always the correct amount. So that was the going price at that time. I don't remember what it was, but the other one we got on Saturday, and you could do what you wanted to with that because there wasn't any Japanese around, and you used that for bartering and trading, and the rest you used the yen to buy what you wanted to. How you could negotiate with candy bars, soap, and cigarettes were prized things worth more than money, actually, as far as wampum was concerned, trading. So that was a good deal. So, anything else?
No.
Anyway, when I got out of the service, this is black.
Oh, it's really okay. It's still, the green light means it's recording.
Okay, when I got out of the service, we went down to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, where Austin was. Austin was joined the Navy and was commissioned at lieutenant junior grade right off the bat because he was working for the FDIC, and passed his physical. He took his physical to go in active duty, but they found a heart murmur and they wouldn't take him. So he was discharged then, and then he went to work for Oak Ridge, Tennessee Eastman Corporation. We went down to visit him, and I had been making probably about $600, a little better than $600 a month with all our allowances and everything. And I asked for a job. Well, we aren't hiring, but I'll give you a job at $25 a week, $100 a month. Then I began to wonder, did I do the right thing, you know? So anyway, we went on, finally ended up at Ottumwa, and Connie's dad said that I could work for him, so I got a salesman's license and started selling real estate. And then about that time, Dad decided he wanted to take a trip west and go out to California and up the coast. Remember that, Connie? And he wanted to come back through Idaho because he had a chance to work in a bank in Idaho, and he didn't take it, and he wanted to see what the place looked like. So we went out and visited Gertrude for a little while, and then I went over to Los Angeles to visit some of Grandma's relatives, Mother's relatives. But while we were in Phoenix, getting ready to leave, he said, Bob, he says, I'm not going to live very long. And he said, I want to make sure that Mother's taken care of and protected. And I said, well, what makes you think so? Well, he says, I've got some very bad problems. And that was in May, and he died in July. So he knew what was happening. And so then we went up the coast. He wanted to go up California coast and up to Oregon and back across and down through Idaho and home. And that we did. And Connie and Dad just got along beautifully. She called him Pops. Hey, Pops. Remember? That's about the end of my story. I don't know about 59 minutes.
Grandma, I do want to hear about...
He always
You
said
go
that
you embellish it now.
he said he couldn't love me more than if I was his own daughter, so that's pretty nice.
So, Grandma, I want to hear about the story with Mildred and
Oh, Daddy?
yeah.
Well, before Mother had taught country school for 10 years. While during World War I, and Daddy was in the war and had pneumonia, and she'd gone down to Tennessee, I think it was, to nurse him, and you had to go down and take care of him when they had pneumonia in the war. And then he came home, and after she taught school, they'd been engaged for 10 years. And after she taught that long, they planned to get married. And meanwhile, Mildred came along and swept Daddy off, young, a lot younger, swept him off his feet, you see, and he decided he wanted to go break the engagement and marry Mother, but she was, the family thought she was a lot better than Mildred, so they stuck up for her, and he married her. But Mildred then was in the background all the time.
Mildred was married to a fellow by the name of Jimmy Clark.
She got married, but she was
So they were continuously having an affair?
probably, I don't know. She was always there.
Yeah.
And you can imagine how that went.
Okay.
They used to play bridge together a
Yeah.
lot. I know that. And she was playing for Daddy for all he's worth, and Mother couldn't take it, that's all. But she didn't, rigid Lutheran, she didn't believe in divorce, and she never divorced him. And he didn't have grounds for divorce, so it probably helped her have her depression, and she got depressed and took her own life.
Well, there was more to that story, Grandma. You told me more to that story.
What's that?
Well, the doctor, for one, like she was going and seeing a doctor.
Well, yeah, we went to, it was a terrible experience to have to go through. She called me, and she just was not rational one day. Daddy did everything he could to help her and was really good to her mostly, but and he supported her all the time. But then we took her to every place. Nothing was known about depression in those days. So and there was
shock treatments.
and they, it was terrible. And we took her to the university, and they gave her shock treatments all the time and put her in with a lot of loonies. So it was hard.
And
It
the
was a hard
doctor,
thing to do.
didn't the doctor tell your dad that?
And then, in Iowa City, eventually, the doctor said nothing can be done for her unless he changes her situation. And even though he doesn't have grounds for divorce, everybody will know that he would be at fault anyway. So he said she won't get better unless there's a divorce. So they got a divorce, and Daddy set Mother up in her own home.
Well, Connie went to bat for her.
Really?
She went to Des Moines and got an attorney.
Well, Daddy didn't want to spend a lot of money on lawyers. It was a congenial type of thing, really. Except Mother was not congenial about it because she didn't believe in divorce. And so his attorney